Am I the jerk for trying to talk finances with my partner? My fiancé and I are having a large disagreement over a financial conversation that came up recently, to which I need some unbiased insight. I am currently making a high salary in my field of work in the area we live, while my partner has just finished school and begun work in a field with much higher earning potential, albeit starting out at almost exactly the same salary as I am making now. My partner is prone to expensive tastes, spontaneous vacation planning, and generally wanting to live life through experiences. I am a bit more conservative, but do not typically mind splurging on something so that we can do it together, even if I think it would be a better financial move to not go on this trip, buy this thing, and so on. I finally made some traction in terms of finances and savings and am trying my best to stay out of debt, while she now has $100,000 of student loans to deal with. She has expressed that she wants to remain separate financially while keeping a shared account for family expenses and bills that we both contribute to, as the nature of our financial relationship through the years has been more or less 50-50. She has also made gracious comments in the past about her earning potential, along the lines of being generous. I asked if, in the future, does that mean we are living off of my budget and not hers? Does this mean that if she chooses to take an expensive vacation that is out of my price range, I am expected to go into debt, stay home, or would she assist in the cost so that we can do whatever the thing is together? She did not like that idea one bit and is now accusing me of being greedy, lazy, after her hypothetical money, and making many other similar claims. I felt this was a genuine question to ask, and am in no way only with her for her earning potential. We've been together for years and she has not made much the entire time up to this point. It really isn't a factor for me, but what is hurtful is I would think this to be a non-issue. Of course, I want my partner with me, why wouldn't she? She is essentially taking the stance of, I went to school for years for this. I worked extremely hard for this. I am the woman. Why shouldn't you just work harder? Why should I ever have to pay more than 50%? What is the take on this? I feel it was an important conversation to have, but we probably should have tackled it sooner. I grew up on the notion of household income, although it was my father who was the primary earner. It's not uncommon to have wage inequality in a relationship. I work hard, have a great career, make decent money, and have never had a history of not paying my way. I don't understand why this has caused such a huge divide between us and am very concerned with where this topic is leading us. You acted correctly, and it's great that you're trying to talk through this since finances are a common cause of divorce. It's a red flag that she's accusing you of being greedy and lazy when discussing finances. Her "you're after my money" stance is concerning. You both need to get on the same page about money, as differing financial values can lead to bigger issues down the road. Maybe consider discussing this in therapy to understand her perspective and find a way to manage finances together. Am I the jerk for kicking my lifelong best friend out of my apartment? I, a 20-year-old female, am an exchange student in Amsterdam and I invited one of my best friends, a 22-year-old female, to stay with me. We plan to travel around Europe and then stay a month in Amsterdam. I feel like I am the antagonist because when we got home from our trip, I told her to get a hotel the same night. I now feel guilty for doing this to my friend, whom I have known since birth as our mothers were friends, and we consider each other basically sisters. Honestly, it was not a specific instance that made me do this, but rather a culmination of situations that made me feel unappreciated, taken advantage of, and uncared for. For context, here are some disagreements. After one of our flights got canceled, we had a 12-hour overnight layover, so we were both tired and irritated. We had 2 checked bags included, and she wanted to check hers in along with our shared suitcase because it was very heavy and uncomfortable. I got upset and asked if she wanted to trade off my backpack to make it fair, because mine was heavy as well. She got upset and said, "Then I guess if we both can't have it, none of us can, right?" I asked her if it would be okay if I checked my bag instead and if she thought that was fair. She did not say anything until we got off our flight at the next destination, so I did not say anything either, as I felt I was always the one to apologize first. I wanted to see if she would make the effort. When we arrived, she got upset that I was ignoring her. When I explained that I was just doing the same thing she did not like it. I told her I need friends that are more communicative, as I hate pushing things under the rug and being passive-aggressive. She agreed to try to work on her communication. She made us miss one of our trains, costing us both an extra €95 to book another one, because she was out too late the previous night and would not wake up in time to make our train. She also did not research or plan how to reach the remote location of our Airbnb. We spent all day getting there and barely made it, having to resort to hitchhiking. She was responsible for accommodation while I was responsible for planning transportation, so I felt this was another instance of being irresponsible. She got mad at me for using her makeup stuff during our trip, which I felt was unreasonable as she was expecting to come back to my place, use my things, live in my friend's room, and use my friend's bike for free. There are more instances, but this gives the general idea. It is now the day after I asked her to leave. She did not want to talk about it last night and left in silence. She told me we could talk today, but neither of us has texted, and I am not sure if we will. I feel like this is another refusal to communicate from her, and I would hate to end such a long relationship, but I just want to feel appreciated by someone I feel like I have done the most for. International travel is stressful, and the best course of action is to let minor irritations slide. Kicking her out as soon as you all arrived back in Amsterdam was a huge overreaction. You come off as childish for expecting perfect behavior and constant gratitude while using her stuff without asking. Clear expectations and an open discussion would have been the best route instead of playing games. Am I the jerk for telling my mom while out casual dining that it's rude to talk on the phone? I, a 45-year-old female, made reservations at a local restaurant for my daughter's 14th birthday. It was nothing fancy but very popular. She only wanted 6 people, including her grandparents, a 71-year-old female and a 69-year-old male. As we walked in, my cell phone rang. There were likely 8 to 12 tables seated. I apologized and shut off my ringer. We weren't even seated when my mother's phone started to ring. It was the same person who called me, my brother, who is 43 years old. My brother asked what time the cake would be served. My mother asked me. I said 7:30 and I had sent him a message. His response was that he didn't get the message. I said he did, he responded. My mother continued the call in the restaurant and I quietly told her that it was rude to be on a call in a restaurant. She got louder and said into the phone and for everyone to hear, I guess I better go. Apparently I'm rude for talking on the phone. I focused on the menu. Another guest, her father, walked in. He sat down and the waitress took our drink order. His phone rang. It was the birthday girl's sister, who lives in another province with children of her own. He answered the phone and put it on speaker so the sister's family could wish her a happy birthday. My mom said, huh, and I get in trouble for answering my phone. She said she would bite her tongue. At this point, I said nothing and continued to focus on the menu. The birthday girl had her other sister, a 15-year-old female, beside her in the restaurant. The 15-year-old said the birthday girl does not want to be sung to, so that her dad at the other end of the table could hear her. The grandma said she thought the little kids on the phone, a 3-year-old male and a 2-year-old female, would probably like to sing to their auntie. Again, the 15-year-old sister said that the birthday girl did not want to be sung to, and the birthday girl confirmed this. My mom then focused on me and said, lighten up, stop taking life so seriously. Smile. At this point, I felt damned no matter what I said or did. I said, my role as a parent is to advocate for my kids when they don't think they can do that for themselves. They don't want to hurt grandma's feelings, but they want her to hear what they say and accept it. I reminded my mom that we had pie at home and were saving the singing for then because that was what the 14-year-old wanted for her birthday. My children's father and I are not together. We have been separated for many years and finally divorced in 2022. We are amicable and kind to one another, co-parenting. He is not my responsibility. If he is being inconsiderate when he is out with our kids, I feel like it is their choice to address it or not. If the kids tell me they need help with a situation, I will help them, but I try not to interfere. He asked the grandkids on the phone if they wanted to sing to Auntie, and of course they did. So while still on speaker, the kids sang. It was sweet. The little ones were happy, but my 14-year-old birthday girl was a bit upset. The call ended, and my mom said to me, why would you put me down in front of my grandkids like that? I told her, I didn't. I am just trying to enjoy my daughter's birthday dinner. Am I the asshole here? You haven't done anything wrong. Your mom is disrespectful to you, your daughters, and everyone around her. It's incredibly rude to use the speakerphone in public, especially at a restaurant. You did the right thing standing up for your kids and I'm sure they appreciate it. Would I be the a-hole if I asked my friend to pay my medical bill? This situation involves my friend Chloe, her boyfriend Dylan, and myself. Chloe texted me 2 days ago to ask if I could accompany her to an event today that she was going to speak at. I said of course. Today I asked where she wanted me to meet her to go to the event. She was confused and said she didn't know she was giving me a ride. I replied confused and apologized for misunderstanding her and misinterpreting her invite. I just thought she would pick me up since she invited me and asked me to go with her. She said it was all good, chalked it up to miscommunication and said she would get me. When she came to get me, Dylan was in the passenger seat. I said hi to them, opened the door and put my bag in the back seat. I was about to get in the car when Chloe started driving and ran over my right foot. Dylan said, wait, hold on, she's still getting in. Chloe had been fiddling with the Maps app on her phone and hadn't seen that I was still getting in. She apologized, said she wasn't paying attention and asked if I was okay. I told her that I felt fine and that she just ran over my foot. I was wearing Crocs so I didn't have much protection between my foot and the car. She panicked, came out of the car to check on me, and I told her that my foot hurt a bit, but that I felt fine due to the adrenaline rush of realizing that my foot just got run over. I assured her I was okay for now, and she continued apologizing the next couple of hours. I assured her I was okay with a bit of pain building up, but I didn't want to say anything since she already felt terrible. We hung out at the event, which included walking, and I could feel my foot getting worse, but it was bearable. Afterward, Chloe and Dylan dropped me off. At this point, my foot was very swollen and I wasn't able to go to work, which consisted of walking a lot. I ended up having to contact my manager so they could swap my shift with a coworker. My family has medical insurance, and after calling my mom and boyfriend to let them know what happened, they suggested I ask Chloe to pay for whatever is left of the medical bill after insurance. I have a doctor's appointment lined up, which Chloe helped find with x-rays. My boyfriend asked Dylan to drive me with Chloe's permission, since my boyfriend has to work and he is also friends with both of them. I feel bad asking her to pay since we're friends and it was an accident. Her family is well off, but recently has been going through a financially straining situation. I feel like I shouldn't ask since she feels really bad about it and gave me a ride to her event, already doing me a favor. My family is working class with blue-collar jobs and said they would offer to pay if it was the other way around since it's the right thing to do. Would I be the asshole if I asked Chloe to cover the medical expenses? You haven't done anything wrong. She ran over your foot, which is a pretty serious issue, and you shouldn't feel bad about asking her to cover the costs. It's her responsibility as the driver to ensure everyone's safety before pulling away, and this situation wouldn't be any different if it had been a stranger she hit. Using your parents as a buffer could help reduce any strain on your relationship while discussing how to handle the expenses. Am I the jerk for telling on my boss? I was offered the position that I have a few years ago, which I was originally super excited about. At first, I made a few mistakes and gained a lot of knowledge. However, my boss seems to take it as an opportunity to do less work since there are 2 of us in the department now. Originally, I was offered to work remotely. Then they started asking me to come in to do my work on site. I did not have a problem with it since I receive a full meal every time I am on site, and I only live 15 minutes away. About a year ago, I started noticing my boss copying and pasting my personal client notes that I came up with during meetings and calls, recording my personal progress for the clients with the highest revenue, to make it seem like my boss did the work and wrote those notes. My boss's director would obviously be proud to see that my boss was working. Another thing I found fishy was when it was time for a holiday bonus, which I asked multiple times about why I did not receive it a year ago. My boss said it was probably directly deposited into my account, and I never noticed. I am sure I would notice a deposit of $500, $1,000. Our bonuses do not even come in the form of direct deposit. They come directly from corporate in the form of a check. This past Christmas I asked about it, was told it would come soon, and it never came. A month later I mentioned it again, and she was quick to zell me $500, claiming there was a delay in the bonus, and she would be happy to take care of it now since I kept asking. This led me to believe the prior holiday bonus was never given to me as promised. My boss will take 5 to 6 days off in a row paid, at least twice a month, and I will be left to work at least 5 of the busiest days per week. 90% of the email conversations, phone calls, and physical meetings that we have with clients fall on me. Whenever a mistake is made, it always seems to be my fault. This past weekend, I asked my boss to check something for me that I felt I missed when I was out, and I was assured it was taken care of. The next day, I came to work to find out that my boss was not even on site to check what I asked, and somehow the mistake fell on me. I was chewed up by my boss and the rest of my team for that mistake. As much as I hinted to my team that it was not my fault, it did not matter because we are a team. I heard an earful from my boss. We have a lot in common and get along well, and normally I am very confrontational, but I am afraid to speak up at the risk of losing my job. Any advice? You are not the jerk. There's definitely a risk of losing your job when reporting a higher up, so make sure you have enough evidence to back up your claims. It might be worth trying to expose your boss indirectly if you don't feel safe reporting him directly. You could try putting something in your notes that would be odd for him to include or wouldn't make sense if copied, just to highlight his lack of accountability. Am I the jerk for going off on my parents? I've been having some issues with my parents lately and things came to a head yesterday. They have been constantly criticizing my choices, and it finally got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I ended up exploding and telling them exactly how I felt. Now they are upset with me and saying that I overreacted. Am I the asshole in this situation? I, a 20-year-old female, wanted to go to a streetwear thrifting event but had to ask my parents, a 69-year-old male and a 59-year-old female, for permission. My friends were not available that day, so my dad said, if your friends can't go, it's a sign you can't go. I needed a chaperone because I am a petite woman. They reminded me that I needed to protect myself even when they are gone, although they acknowledged that I know jiu-jitsu. I cannot go to the event by myself because of the big bad world. My mom once called campus police on me because my phone died, and she was freaking out. My parents think I will not stand up for myself because I am a quiet person, and this is probably their reasoning. My dad returned from the car with my pencils that were lying around there. He gave me the pencils and then said, "Look what I got from the thrifting pop-up shop." I felt he was making fun of me because he has authority over which places I should go. I got upset, and then my mom had the idea to make it a family trip, which did not make any sense because they are too old to understand the thrifting event. I invited my 15-year-old niece to come along because she knows about thrifting. At the thrifting event, I felt embarrassed to bring my mom. I was literally in an environment with kids my age, and I had my mom with me. When we got to the place, she started policing what clothes looked good on us and denying clothes that my niece and I wanted, even though we brought our own money. Then she got tired of it and said, "You know you're buying used clothes, right? That is literally the event. Why are you here?" So we left early because she was not enjoying it. My niece and I felt that there were more things to see at the event. Back in the car, my mom complained about how expensive it was, and my dad became an expert about pop-up stores and how they steal your money. I exploded in the car about needing chaperones, and my dad said, "It's not bad to bring along company." Yeah, unwanted company. At home, I told my mom how embarrassing it was to bring her along in an environment of kids my age. She seemed to understand and joked about being our chauffeur. I also told her how she was denying clothes that we liked and how I do not like her being overprotective. She said that I am too pretty, so I am going to get kidnapped, or something along those lines. Am I the asshole? You are not responsible for this, but the wording about being a kid is definitely strange when you're an adult at 20 years old. It's concerning how your parents' infantilization of you continues, treating you like a helpless child instead of a grown adult. As a 20-year-old, you are fully capable of going to a shop on your own and making your own decisions. If your financial stability or housing is dependent on this treatment, it's crucial to find a way to gain independence and distance yourself from this controlling behavior. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.